My friend Danny Fenster is an American journalist who's been detained in Myanmar by their military and has been held for over 100 days without due process and without actually being charged with a crime. Please check out the hashtag #BringDannyHome or go to bringdannyhome.com for more information. Please consider signing the petition and sharing Danny's story.
Welcome to Galaxy Tenants Burning Man Chronicles Chapter 8. Today we head into the Multiverse for a conversation with Ed Lazar and Eric Eade of Videogasm, and we feature Bangs and the Places You'll Go from Manycolors.
This is a very Burning Man situation, which is, to me, we tried something and it didn't necessarily work out. And that's Burning Man. And I guess it worked out in live time what we did in BRCVR at the Videogasm camp, and we had some great participation in our live recording of the podcast. But I really wanted to make sure that we got the audio right, and I wanted to have these two gentlemen on to speak directly to some of the questions I had and talk about their burn experiences both digitally and physically. So I am joined by Eric and Ed of the Videogasm camp. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today.
Welcome.
Ed, can you talk a little bit about how you got into Burning Man and how the Videogasm camp took shape?
Well, it all started back around, about 1995, 1996. Me and a couple of my college friends from University of Michigan. We had a friend who went out west and worked for Microsoft, and we became a part of this community. Back then, they were calling themselves the Cacophony Society. They went to this thing every year called Burning Man, and we used to always make fun of them. Yeah, you're just going out there, getting high in the desert, yeah. And we started looking into it more, and we kind of got intrigued by it. So me and four of my other friends, 5 of us total, went out there, and we put together the first theme camp. We didn't even know they could have a theme camp. We're looking up online. It's like, a theme camp? What the hell is that? Well, let's do that, I guess. So we put a little theme camp together, which was basically 5 guys driving out in a van and 5 tents. That was our first theme camp. And what we did that year is we made a documentary of our experiences there. So then when the next year came around, I said, well, what can we do with this? I guess because we need to show this documentary we made. So then we, brought in video projectors and sound systems and learned that the playa is very unkind to these things. And yeah, we've just been building it ever since. Online presence. Back in the day, it was the tribes. That's how we got a hold of people and talked about it. MySpace, and then developed into Facebook. And it was just, it's just an online community of like-minded people interested in film. Always wanted to provide a place where, independent filmmakers could show their wares. And that's kind of what was our vision. And I think we're slowly nudging in that direction, trying to get a little better each year.
Is your original video that you made, is that available anywhere for people to watch by chance?
Yeah, it's still on. I have it on mini DV, so I have to.
Should put it on YouTube.
I got to get it transferred
really great.
Digital before it completely degrades.
That's an important piece of Videogasm history right there.
Yeah, it really is. Who knows? I may have that showing in our Altview or this world before.
I think that would be super cool. Eric, how did you get involved in Videogasm, and how did you find Burning Man?
Well, I found Burning Man much in the late 90s, even in the rave scene in Detroit. I heard about this party out west that was this magical party, and I didn't really connect the dots that it was actually Burning Man, because I don't know if it didn't really carry that name at that time. It was just this wild party in the desert that was of epic proportions. And I ended up going in 2006 because I moved out here to Los Angeles, and I always heard about it. And I was like, I think it's like a party that a lot of people hear about, and it's on their list of things to do. And it is a lot of work to manifest it, make it happen. So I see why it's such a special experience for people to do. And I went out there, I applied for a film permit, filled out all the paperwork online, because I'm like, if I'm going to go, I want to capture this. So I shot about 9 hours of documentary. Like, I had a night vision camera and a day one. And like many people who have went there and filmed at Burning Man, it's sitting on a shelf right now. You know, I have converted it over, but it's kind of yet to be released out there. So I guess I have a documentary of that.
I would offer you the same encouragement that you should do something with this, because it's a piece of your history in relation to Burning Man. And with both of you being creative gentlemen, I would love to see what your initial experiences and perspective on the playa look like. So, like I said, I offer you that encouragement.
And I appreciate that, which, you know, that obviously can lead to a long story, but it was very interesting. I was part of a camp that was art appreciation camp. And in the spirit of Burning Man, I heard you had to gift and everything like that. So I went out there with gifts, and people that intrigued me, I would put them on camera, and part of their interview or whatever they would say to me, I would then gift them one of these like handmade bracelets out of real stones. So it's interesting to even connect with those people at a later period of time. So, but then that brings me to, I did 2016, and then with the girlfriend, we were going to camp again. We were going to go in 2018. And I was kind of like, if we're going to do it, we need to link up with a camp. And because it really does change your experience when you have a kitchen, when you have a shower, when you have community there. And we kind of like checked out a lot of the camps within Burning Man that kind of puts something out there. And if you've done research in it, you could spend $1,000 a person a week to be with one of these big box camps, or, you know, there's some more independent, that's the smaller camps. And, you know, there's some wild camps. So we went local where, you know, I spent half the year in Michigan. So this camp connected with us. I mean, I feel like the name is an intriguing name. People come by the Videogasm and, you know, aren't sure what to expect.
You have expect porn just right on the screen. Just raw pornography.
That's what they do expect, yes.
That's why I came for the first time, at least.
And, you know, I hate to admit it, but we did show a little bit of classic porn back in the late 90s.
Very nice.
You know,
very nice.
Just, you know, we tried to be respectful with it, but, yeah. And then the 2000s, everything got very PC, and, you know, couldn't do that anymore. Probably just as well.
There's always next year.
Oh my gosh.
I guess I wonder, how did this take shape digitally? Was this in BRCVR? I assume this was when the pandemic hit and Burning Man was canceled last year. Whose idea was it to jump on to BRCVR, and how did this camp take shape on the digital playa?
Digitally, basically, one of our campmates, Derek, goes by the burner name Hazard. He teaches 3D modeling in Detroit, and he suggested that we do this. And, you know, being children of the 80s and 90s, of course, it's like, hey, Burning Man, the video game, sweet. Yeah, let's do that. That would be cool. But he did just like an amazing job of really capturing the feel of Burning Man and the feel of our camp. And it really felt like home for us. And we just kept adding on to that and just trying to make it more interactive and more true to the feel and look of Burning Man and of our camp. I mean, it's just such a great format because, I mean, I'm sure from now on we're going to use this as a way to try things out before we actually bring them to the play. It just really opens up, ideas that you just sort of had in the back of your mind. But, it's like, oh, I got to take the time to build the structure, do all this. But if you kind of like try it out before and see how it works, how it fits into your camp, I think it's going to change. It's definitely going to change our camp.
Well, the space feels very authentic. It's very cool. For those who haven't been there, it has the cracked earth playa. It has folks riding by in the distance and beautiful skies. And you guys have recently added a theater to the camp, which is pretty sweet. I also am a fan of the bar area with the black lights. I think it's all very visually appealing. Eric, can you speak a little bit to the events that have taken place in the camp and talk a little bit about your recently passed 365 day that you guys were celebrating?
Yeah, so last year, I guess it starts with events, right? They decided to build the camp. So then the next thing is they're like, well, we need you to submit a schedule. So you get this big blank schedule. And we're like, okay, what are we going to do to fill these time slots? And I'm immediately thinking of, the people that do the monkey chant, ecstatic dance, yoga, what kind of entertainment, happy hour, obviously we do the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is also an important thing. And we're doing the 48-hour film festival, which is kind of where I was getting to, even with circling around with our camp. I thought it was interesting to be aligned with this camp because to create a film in a short period of time, even the couple of years in 2018, 2019, it's a challenge, getting the campmates. Okay, we're going to shoot. And then I also brought in this writer, Brendan, who he's going to be on Wednesday night doing a storytelling, screenwriting class. And this year we're going to do a 1-minute challenge for film because it seems like a short film is too much. So we want to make this more of an immediacy, really short format. You could watch a lot of different things, and which led us to last year. We started off with I wasn't sure what the name should be, but it was originally going to be like a content creator, but I felt like a filmmaker is not going to attend a content creator meet and greet. So I felt it was really important for us to add in filmmaker, content creator meet and greet. And that's what happened yesterday. It was like we held that meeting for 365 days of the year and constantly fed that creativity. People are busy in lives, so some people popped in and popped out, but they checked back in with us. And that led to last year, we were wanting to do short films on the principles that people would submit. I was really hoping it would be people who've been to the burn, going back into their archives and really kind of showing the principles on demonstration from different moments that they've had. I feel like that's an important part of the archive system of Burning Man, to where people can see it in more of a timeline of how it's existed and telling those stories reimagined, because you spent that time to capture it. And as much as we have the nostalgic for like looking at a picture, a film just invokes like a whole nother feeling of these moments. And when you look at a moment that you've captured from years back, you're always like, oh, I remember what kind of happened, but you always kind of wish there was even more of it. So I aspire to bring friends and groups back together and watch these old memories that they've kind of made happen together. And nowadays you could do a Zoom and everybody could just watch it on a screen together and just laugh and reimagine these moments and make it a principle, make it a short film, and submit it so other people can enjoy that. So that's where we're at now. Is obviously the film festival is live, and it's been a pretty amazing experience seeing filmmakers from all over the world and watching a short film and going, hey, which principles does this movie cater to? I mean, I almost want to watch Mark Day's series of films, and I would love to like have the banter of like what principles because he can play off that he's not talking about the principles because there's an energy to it. But I wonder how many of them that he actually hits on in his films, because I think that he does more of it because it's kind of ingrained in a personality.
I'm sure Mark would sit there for every minute of every one of his films and watch them with you and discuss them if you so chose. I think what you guys are doing is really wonderful. It's inspiring because, I've been all over the digital playa and there's so many cool corners with things going on. And your corner of the playa is just beaming with creativity and output and activity. And it's one of my favorite places to hang out. In fact, while I was wandering Esplanade over coffee the other morning, I was really stoked to see the placement you guys had.
Thank you. Yeah, when we seen it, I guess like Hazard, who submitted it's not quite what he said he submitted to them. It's I have like when I went to the Playa, I feel like, listen, everybody's overwhelmed with the creating of stuff. I feel like the Playa that we're seeing out there is not what was intended to be shown. I feel like that's why the rain delay. Unfortunately, it is a massive undertaking to do that, and it costs a lot of funds to do this kind of stuff. I don't think people understand the undertaking. We're doing one camp, and I know how much work that was to even Hazard last year. He was really worn down with the amount of hours that it took him to build that camp. And for this year, it was like, yeah, we just needed to build a theater, and we really tried to people are busy in life, but we tried to not make it too complicated. But this is just one camp. So I can only imagine like dealing with all these personalities and all of these things. And, part of what we've been talking about over the year is, a lot of people who are philanthropists and give to causes and stuff like that. Like, I get it. There's a lot of people that are in need and whatnot. And I believe art needs to be supported in a new way, shape, or form. A lot of artists are giving their time, and, it just helps having resources.
Sure. I spoke with the BRC VR team this morning, and they talked about how it's an ongoing process, and they'll be adding things, and how they do have their hands full with things as everything's opening up. And you're right. It's a lot of work and a lot to undertake. That said, just the actual physical placement and the location of Videogasm with this huge marquee that you can see from right when you jump into the world, pretty much. I thought that was good. It's good placement. It looks good. What's the craziest shit you've seen at Burning Man?
I'm going to default to the 22. I don't have as many burns, and I'm going to default.
Two of my favorites. One was the flaming piano that was shot with a giant slingshot across the Playa. That was just very simple yet effective. And then the other thing that just blew me away was the Hand of Man, which was basically a giant robotic hand that you could use, that let people just off the street could come up and use to pick up cars, actual cars, full-size cars, and crush them in their hand. Those are two that just really stand out for me.
That's amazing. You don't have anything, Eric? Come on.
No, I do. But I knew I would not top somebody with 22 years. Like, I don't have that. The memory that I'm going to go to is the temple. I've volunteered as a temple guardian, and the energy of the temple, I'm going to go crazy with it, because it gives me the chills to even talk about it right now. It is one of the most unique sacred energies that you can experience there. It almost leaves me speechless to talk about, because it's something that you do need to, every experience you're going to have there is different. And I've been there for the opening, the closing, just the conversations that you have. Yes, I did go on a crazy adventure out there as well, that we maybe save that for another story. But, it was like doing a tribute to somebody, and it was supposed to be a morning thing. And I ended up just laughing like hysterically, like, for it. And that's a for that sacred place. Yeah. So the temple.
I'm an agnostic, and I have very few beliefs, but I've never experienced the feeling I have walking in and out of that space every year. I would be curious as to what your favorite camp is on the Playa, outside of Videogasm, of course.
I mean, for me, I've always loved Thunderdome from the first time I saw it in 1998. Both started the same year, just their whole Mad Max vibe. And I mean, it's just like everything you expect to see in a Burning Man camp brought to life. And I got to know a few of those people, and they're some really good guys.
I love
And,
their opera. The opera they put on every night is just, it's just stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, they have the pipe organ, the flaming pipe organ. I remember for several years it's really awesome as well. Never got up the courage to go into the ring, but man, that is something to see and watch. That's a spectacle. I really love those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fucking great pick. What about you, Eric?
The name isn't coming to me, but I love the camp at Burning Man that has they go in there with 6 or 8 different domes, and they do yoga and lots of different classes and speakers. And I feel bad that I'm not mentioning their name, but they give a lot. They have a whole packet. It's a whole program of all of the ecstatic dance, erotic massage, all kinds of very unique classes and the talks that you can go to on the adventure out there. The lady that does the tapping, the EFT, there's so many people in this community that I love. I look forward to going to the city and seeing these people going on the adventure. I think Costume Cult is fun as well to bring clothes to Burning Man that you're going to gift, because you know what, if you've had enough of these clothes, somebody else is going to love this. That's going to be their new favorite item that they're going to get. And there's a magic in that. There really is that gifting of an item to where it's sometimes you get something new and it's it just brings a whole nother life to it, because we have this energy in something that we've worn, and for it to carry on and almost be reborn again, there's a magic in that. And then I love, we didn't even mention it in here, all the crafts, looking at oh, I'm going to go make this pennant, or oh, I'm going to, fire this thing, or oh, I'm going to go make these horns. And that's a whole nother adventure to where crafting things and bringing something into existence that is very much the magic.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I would say for me, it's the Playa Jazz Cafe, with an honorable mention for the art car El Pulpo Mecanico. Maybe cliche picks, but that's what resonates with me.
Well, El Pulpo, when I first saw that it was just, I didn't even believe what I was seeing. It was 3:00 in the morning, and the thing came by for the first time, and I was wow. I mean, it's
terrifying and endearing, and it's every time I see that thing on Playa, I feel like a fucking kid on Christmas, as if Santa just dropped right into the living room down the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
What are your takeaways from Burning Man as a whole, the experience as a whole?
I mean, for me, I just always wanted to be a part of creating something with a group of people. I mean, back from the earliest days when I was, making little Super 8 movies in my basement, just that whole collaboration, working with someone toward a common goal. I mean, that's, it's something creative. I mean, it's one thing to go to work and, work on you just don't get that same satisfaction. And, I look forward to it. This is what it's a passionate thing. You build something that you're passionate about. I mean, it's just means so much more. And, it's really something I can't get anywhere else. And just all the friendships that I've made over the years. I mean, most of these people were like family to me, more than most of my family, actually. As they say, it's your chosen family. And that's a lot of it as well.
Eric?
Yes. So the thing I wrote down, because I wanted to make sure I wrote it down so I would get it. Something that you hear about Burning Man is you always refer to it as I'm going home. And when you first are going to go out there, you're you don't quite get what that means. You don't quite understand. But after experiencing it, and there is a feeling of going home, and I always, I would describe Burning Man as it was always this city that exists and comes into existence for 1 week or 10 days that you can come experience, and then it closes. So it's just there's a magic in something that exists. So to be a resident of that city and that community, and it's about art. I tell people, if you don't appreciate art, this is not a place for you. Whether the people are the art or you look around, is this your thing? If it isn't this event, you could probably pass on it and it'd be okay. Because if you can't at least come to this event knowing that you are literally going there to appreciate art. Like for people that don't really connect with it, it's something to, I tell people that if you do, it's something that should be on your bucket list to do once.
And if you don't, there's always Coachella.
Or Stagecoach, or whatever kind of music that you gravitate to.
Sure.
You know, the participation element of it. And as citizens, always drum down to, hey, we want you to vote. But we would like to have these people's opinions count for these short films. We're getting it narrowed down to the finals. Now we're trying to make it the minimum amount of time that you would be committed to it. If you only want to watch 10 films and vote for a couple, like we'll take that.
Where can people go to vote?
BlackRockCityFilmFestival.com. On that site, we just added that the Twitch stream, so you can click on it and it's going to jump you at some point within there. We have the Vote Now button, and you could go, as you go, you can select a film. If only, you don't need to vote for every film. If there's a few films that really speak for you, you know, there's 5 categories that you rate on, you know, what you think of the story, the entertainment value, the performance, the artistry, and the vibe, you know. And I know it's going to make you think a little bit of, like, I know people just want to give a 1 to 10, but I feel like a film, there's several key elements that determine how good it is. And then, yeah, the extra bonus is, hey, we're going to have you look and see what kind of principle that you think that this thing caters to.
I love that. I will absolutely jump on there and participate, and will encourage others to do the same. Thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you for providing a creative space, providing me a space to give talks on podcasting and to be able to share what I love with people, and to be able to have conversations and learn about filmmaking from a bunch of folks who do it.
Thank you for being a fan of Videogasm. We appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to Galaxy Tenants. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. For early access to episodes and exclusive content, check us out on Patreon. Also, if you'd like to communicate with us, send an email to galaxytenants@gmail.com or leave a voicemail on the Galaxy Tenants hotline at 303-550-2065.